So hey guys, I just wanted to make a really quick video. It's a little bit obscure because a lot of you, or many of you, probably don't all like the same music as I do. But I, through all my childhood and all my times growing up, I always loved Earth, Wind, and Fire. It was like one of my favorite bands, to the default of not listening so much to the 80s, like techno and emerging electronic music. I was like still into soul and to just soul and funk and stuff like that left over from the 70s. So I was a disco sucks kind of person. Disco sucks but doesn't suck kind of person. Anyway, after this weekend, I just got back from Vegas and I had a really cool time and I was kind of jazzed, so I wanted to listen to some music. And Earth, Wind, and Fire has kind of an all-worldly otherness about it. And I think too, it's probably because I passed the Luxor, so instead of getting jiggy with it, I got down with it to the changing times. And one of my favorite albums was always Raise, and this is the cover from Raise, as you see right here, and the last song on it was Changing Times, or so I thought. But as you see here in my YouTube search, I looked up Changing Times, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and instead of Changing Times, it is now The Changing Times. But it's kind of an apt replacement, right? Because after the Commodores lost its The Ramones lost its The, and now somehow Earth, Wind, and Fire song has gained a The, and a song about the changing times, no less. So now it's not just about changing times in general, it's about the changing times, like our times are changing. It's more singular, it's more specific. I mean, specific, but in sort of an all-encompassing way. But it was so weird to me because I listened to this song all the time when I was a kid. And I listened to this album all the time when I was a kid, and this is my favorite song on the album. This is the album that has the Groove Tonight song on it, which is so key. It's like one of the best Earth, Wind, and Fire songs ever. But the crazy thing about this is that if you look, it's changing times. And if you can hear, they're singing changing times, changing times, changing. There's no the changing times in these lyrics. It's just changing times. That's the chorus. Changing times, oh, changing times. So all through these lyrics, and they're not that complex, there is no the. And yet somehow, if you go on YouTube, it's all about the. And to prove to you, to double prove, you look at their album cover. And it was on the back. All the songs were listed on the back. Let's Groove, Kalimba Tree, Lady Sun, Evolution Orange. Evolution Orange about the earth about an orange as an earth. But look, I mean, if you go all the way down, The Changing Times. So that hasn't changed, and here it's listed up there too. So it's nothing that they changed on the internet that wasn't on the album cover. Of course, I'm still fascinated too, because if you look at the Commodores, it's really fascinating. It was actually pointed out to me that the Commodores, now having lost its The, there's this empty space right here where it looks like the should have been in their logo. So that always fascinated me too. Although it's funny because on some of the albums it still says The Commodores. And I think their greatest hits all says The Commodores as well. Yeah, right there. But not in their logo. So which is it, guys? Which is it? Another interesting thing that was discussed this weekend is my friend Dina and I were listening to music on the way to Vegas, and she wanted me to look up Mick Jagger and Tina Turner singing Beast of Burden. But we could not find it online. And she's like, you looked at for that on YouTube? And I said, yeah. But we have them here singing Honky Tonk Woman. Or I always thought it was Honky Tonk Women, but whatever. We have Bette Midler singing Beast of Burden. Tina Turner, Mick Jagger, and then the Rolling Stones Vegas Beast of Burden with Katy Perry, and then they have Tina Turner singing State of Shock with Mick Jagger. That was like one of my favorite songs with him and Michael Jackson. But we couldn't find it. And then I looked it up in an article and it said It happened during a Live Aid in Philadelphia in 1985. Turner made a surprise cameo during the tail end of Jagger's 5-track performance at the benefit concert, joining him on stage to help him sing 2 classics, State of Shock and It's Only Rock and Roll, But I Like It. The latter saw Jagger dramatically rip off Turner's leather miniskirt, resulting in the crooner finishing out the track in nothing more than a leotard and fishnets. The crowd naturally went wild, and a sexy performance, which may or may not have inspired that famously risque Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake moment at the Super Bowl in the early aughts, that must be a British guy writing it, is arguably one of the biggest. So it's arguably one of the biggest and most shock-inducing highlights in rock and roll history, even though it was presumably planned and rehearsed. Anyway, just gonna ask you guys a question if you have seen any of those in the beginning of songs, and that's about it. Peace out.